Keisha. Who you think you are. You're lucky that I don't want revenge. So can I get some closure? Stay right where you are and don't come closer. If you haven't picked it up, it's over. You wanted her, so just give me what I deserve. So can I get some closure? Stay right where you are and don't come closer. If you haven't picked it up, it's over. Run back to her, 'cause I got what I want, closure. I might be broken down, but I'm smiling. I keep my head up high, though I fail. Sometimes I get a bit emotional, but then I turn around and let it go. I see you watching me from a distance. I see you can't decide what to feel. But if you dig a little deeper, boy, you know you really wanna get to know me. Let's get this out of the way. I can't wait another day to tell you you shouldn't wait. Don't be so afraid. Yeah, I'm a bit too much, but I'm fun and games. When I'm acting tough, I just wanna play. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours. Come and get it, 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 come and get it. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours. Jump on my roller coaster and hold tight. It won't be easy, but it'll be fun. Sometimes it goes the whole way up and down. I think you're ready now to leave the ground. Get in the fast lane, babe, you can make it. I promise I'll be there all the way. And if you get a little broken down, all that you gotta do is keep your head high. Let's get this out of the way. I can't wait another day to tell you you shouldn't wait. Don't be so afraid. Yeah, I'm a bit too much, but I'm fun and games. When I'm acting tough, I just wanna play. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours. Come and get it, 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 come and get it. If you are looking for one hell of a ride, just come and get it. Baby, I'm all yours. Oh, oh, oh. How much longer can you hide? You can try and push away from me. You kick and scream, you're begging, please. But once you get a little taste of freedom, you wanna get up off your knees. Come over, don't fight how you really feel. Come closer to me.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to ULTI.TV's coverage of the wonderful Windmill tournament here in glorious, beautiful Amsterdam. We're back into the open and women's divisions with our third round of the day, and the algorithm is serving us up Alba from Scotland in the UK up against a club who I am very pleased to report is one of our patrons, so always nice to get an opportunity to get them on stream. Hardfisch from Hamburg in Germany. It's Benji Rees here with you on the now roaming handheld mic. Delighted to be joined by a slightly banged up Sam Murphy.
Yeah, happy to be here, excited for this game. Looks like Alba a slightly smaller squad than they'd usually travel with. I don't know too much about Hardfisch, but excited to see both of these teams play.
Obviously, for those of you unfamiliar with the way Windmill works, it's a Swiss draw format, which means it's constantly re-evaluating your results against the teams that you've played, and it kind of shifts your ranking up and down a bit. So the idea is that the algorithm serves you up teams that you should be, theoretically, closely matched against, with only the one game in the system so far. Obviously, it can get a little bit, take a couple of rounds to kind of shake itself out in the wash somewhat. But for Alba, a 15-8 loss to Mooncatchers, while Hardfisch went down 15-9 to Gentle Open. But two of those, I mean, both Belgian opponents who are kind of at the top of the European Ultimate scene, so those are certainly not discreditable losses, I think.
Yeah, I actually saw the score of Alba Moon. It seemed like it was close for the first half, and then Moon seemed to pull away. That's kind of what you'd expect from a team like Alba with a smaller squad. They obviously have the quality to keep up with those teams, but towards the later stages of the games, when it's this hot and Moon have that many good players, it's going to be tough to go the full 15 points.
How's your collarbone doing after last weekend?
It's doing okay. I'm sleeping now. It's getting a little bit better. I'm going to be a few weeks out, unfortunately, so taking a little bit more time to do some commentary, and I'm just excited to be doing this as a little bit of a backup for the playing.
Obviously, we're disappointed to not see you out there on the field, but it's lovely to have you here with us at ULTI.TV. You might have just heard Herbie trumpeting in the background, so games are underway. 75 minutes, games to 15, and when the hooter goes at the end of the game, you finish the point, and that's it in Swiss draw. So we have already had our first tie of the weekend. Shout out to Iceni and Mermaid Lumberjacks, who decided that drawing 12-all was the best result. Not sure that everyone agrees. It's so weird to have draws in Frisbee, but there you go. There I am, amazingly looking taller than Sam because he sat down. Thanks, my ego appreciates it. Alba are going to be receiving in the white jerseys, and it's the, we'll go with red for Hardfisch. Pull towards the back of the end zone. Underway here, both of these sides looking to bounce back from that round one loss. A little bit of wind on the field here, but nothing too severe. Trying to find the inside through, but Stewart has it go out of his hands. Now here's Spectre. Little short one. Dreyer punches it in to Credet, and that is a dream start really for Hardfisch. Didn't even have to work that hard for the break.
Yeah, Alba looked comfortable there. It seemed like more just a bit of a straight drop execution error early on in the game, but the offense looked good up until that point. Hardfisch, to their credit, getting the short field turn. I think it was 2 or 3 throws, and that's an easy break. Perfect way to start for Hardfisch.
Yeah, for Alba, they've put themselves at the top of the things in the UK, made the Nationals final last year, but kind of haven't necessarily had that tournament winning pedigree. For Hardfisch, they are the reigning Open Masters European Club champions after that scintillating final back in Wrocław last May, which some of you were not at because you were at a thing called Tom's Tourney, which, you know what, we'll let you off. I think that's just about a valid excuse. But it is, I tell you what, I mean, I thought it was hot out at EBUCC, and it was, but it's not really abated in the week. It's scorching here in Amsterdam as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dry heat. You really don't get much from the weather here, and it's tough if you're playing 4 games a day like these guys are, so interested to see how they manage the squads.
So he's going to let that drop out of the side of the pitch. The captain, Cameron Mackey, well judged. Going to get it from the brick mark, which, if you haven't seen them and you think they look like odd-shaped brick marks, they are, in fact, Herbie-shaped, which is a nice little touch. Mackey opens up the arm and bangs it, and it's just too far for the streaking Andrew Cleary.
Yeah, I really can't hold it against him for looking at Cleary. Irish guy, one of the best receivers in Europe, in my opinion. So easy to see why he'd throw it, but just a little bit too much on that one.
Another break opportunity here for Hardfisch. They've got that poach to begin the possession. They're going to take it as well. Now swinging central. Everything just taking place very short. The wind is working against them a little bit here, but even so, it does look like everything is kind of cluttered and congested. Squeezing that one down the sideline. Sennefelder. Another one tight on the far sideline. Kredet, who scored the first goal of this game, wants to break it off. Klein Johan. Now Spectre with a high grab, nicely towed in on this sideline. It's Sennefelder. Working this very patiently. A little bit of swag on the layout there. Was that necessary?
I don't know, but they're clean so far. It's not the most beautiful offense, but they're just refusing to make any mistakes, and looks like they punched in another break there.
And a little bit of showboating as well. Klein Johan was already whipping up the crowd before he caught the break, which looks great when you catch it. If you don't catch it, then believe you me, there would be all sorts of shame cam on that one. But you mentioned it wasn't the prettiest offense, a bit workmanlike, but it was very effective.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Alba are putting them in tough spots, but if Hardfisch can continue to find ways out of those areas, they're going to have a lot of success. It is hot. It's tough for defense to stay really close for longer points. So if you can hit people in the chest and just keep it churning, then there's no reason why you can't win games here.
So obviously you've been you were before the injury due to be representing Ireland Mixed here and EUC in the summer. How did your first game go?
We played Denmark Mixed. It was close to start. I think Ireland pulled away a little bit towards the kind of middle portion and then started to roll on defense. Denmark definitely looked like a good team. Good deep shots to their female matching players. We're definitely just here to learn, so the focus isn't necessarily on the results, but always nice to start with a comprehensive win. I think it was 15-7 in the end.
I remember Denmark maybe had one of the games of the tournament last in EUC in 2019 against Russia, in the game where the sprinklers came on because it was running so late. One of many interesting events that happened, as that is a expansive shot down that sideline. Not sure I mean, I like the ambition, but it feels like a low percentage shot.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what Alba are thinking here. They look like a relatively more athletic team. Maybe you'd expect higher levels of disc skills as well, but they seem to be taking on really difficult options.
So again, we'll see if Hardfisch can continue to grind their way down the pitch. I was going to say like an Amsterdam, like you'd find in an Amsterdam coffee house, but I know what happens in Amsterdam coffee shops, and it's not that kind of grinding. That one is tipped, and a couple of Alba defenders converge on it. There would look like a hefty collision in there.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened there. It seemed like the D happened earlier, and then the poaching defender maybe came through, but yeah, you hope he's all right. It did seem like a bit of a hard hit.
Looks like the turnover is going to stand, and everyone made their way off the field comfortably enough, I think, so that's good. Red zone opportunity here. Glorious opportunity for the hold even with Tang. Got the isolation at the front of the end zone. Tang looking for the captain, Mackey around. Ooh, he just never really got himself set in a position to bid. There's the big shot, trying to take advantage of maybe the height mismatch. I think he lost it a little bit, but can he find it and relocate it? Haflin can. That was ruthless from the Germans, and it's 3-0.
Yeah, dream start for the Germans. They've shown that they can grind it down, just taking unders, and now they've shown that they can break quickly and take the deep shots as well. Everything seems to be working for them. Now it's about how do Alba respond. Looks like they might be taking a timeout, which you'd expect after 3 breaks from your O-line. So I'd expect Alba to come out firing here and close the gap at least.
Yeah, each side gets two-minute timeouts to use a half, and they're using one of them now, so we'll take a breather in the booth as well and rejoin you very shortly.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
Welcome back to ULTI.TV's coverage of Windmill Tournament, where things have started in an inauspicious fashion in this game for Alba. Down 3 breaks already, 3-0 Hardfisch of Hamburg lead. You've probably got a bit more experience playing against these lads from Alba than I have, and you were saying that they can be a team that is a bit streaky at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can see even from their playing style so far that they like to take on some difficult shots. Naturally, when you come down with those shots, everyone's fired up, everyone's feeling good and confident. When you don't, it can be tough to get any kind of footing in the game. I would hope that Alba would. They are missing a few of their most experienced players, so it'll be interesting to see how the younger half of the roster starts to respond here.
Yeah, and those players are missing because GB Mixed are in attendance, and a lot of those will be representing the nation out in sunny Limerick this summer. Why do they keep making me say that? This is a much more smooth possession though. They found like they've got a little bit of rhythm going. I wonder if that was one of the things they talked about during the timeout, is just keep it a little bit cooler. So they have it on the far sideline with the evergreen Phil Webb. Now Mackie, a little bit late I think on the delivery of the throw, and it meant the defender was already there.
Yeah, it looks like the same exact O-line as it has been, so they look a little bit tired out there.
And that time, Mackie got back and recovered well. Just, the receiver was just completely sandwiched there. Webb makes him go up a little bit early, and then the big man Mackie slaps it away. Nice to be able to earn that one back.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be good for confidence. Hopefully they can just grind the unders here and slap it in.
Oh, I thought Mackie was going to do it. Decided against it, but with a stall count really ticking up now instead. Finds the option down the line. Lindsay wants to reset high. Mackie waits on that one. Now minus hat. Webb with a low rip down the centre of the field. Always going to be picked off. And now it's Hardfish's turn to take a timeout.
Yeah, interesting call from Hardfisch. If I'm them, I want to keep that O-line that's been out there for 3 points already, out on the field. This is where you really need to, especially playing against a team that maybe is the favourite, you want to really grind and make the most of the advantage, but they take the time out. Let's see if it works out.
Especially because they've had a little bit of success with quick pickups as well, but another chance for us to take a breather in the booth, and we'll be right back with you.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
You can help grow Ultimate by liking, subscribing, and by becoming a patron. You can find all the details on ULTI.TV or patreon.com/ULTI.TV. And you could maybe become a patron yourself, or maybe become a patron as a team or as a club, like Hardfisch have. That is, by the way, not the reason why they are on stream, but it doesn't hurt your chances. The almighty algorithm picked this game for us. But at the moment, I think Alba might be wishing that it hadn't.
Yeah, Alba definitely struggling so far. It seems like it's just frustration, maybe a little bit of fatigue. Hardfisch to cool their heads so far. What are you seeing from Hardfisch that you're impressed with so far, Benji?
I think it's been... They've varied things up on the turn. Sometimes they've had those, you know, they've taken the slow pickup, they've ground it, and they've also sensed the opportunity to kind of lay down the hammer when they needed to. Making himself big on the mark. Ooh, getting a little bit of a bump in the back there is credit. Leasing through the handlers. Klein Johan back down the line to credit. Only a couple of meters out now. Wants it into the backfield. They've generally reset it quite well. And then with the offhand backhand, not sure quite enough error in it. And he threw that right back through that lane. And there was a defender waiting right there in Forster. Not quite sure what he saw there, but Forster was always in that space.
Yeah, unfortunately Hardfisch showing a couple of errors. I think that's only their first 2 turns of the game, and Alba back on offense now.
Webb going with the around backhand to no one in particular. It just doesn't look right at the moment for Alba. Not, of course, that Hardfisch will care about all these relatively cheap turnovers they've been given. Trap them on the far sideline at midfield here. Wants to muscle way down line. Klein Johan finds it. And now he's putting a bit of air underneath it. This is going to sit and float. And Kevin reads it well to bring it down for another Hardfisch break. It's 4-0, and they are really applying the pain to Alba now.
Yeah, this is where, as Alba, you'd love to have your coach. Leo Micklem came over from Ranelagh to Edinburgh to complete a PhD, I believe, and has started coaching Alba. It's interesting to hear a lot of the same calls that I would have heard last year as part of Ranelagh here, the Alba guys repeating them. They'd love that presence here now to kind of calm them down and get them back on track. They don't have that. They don't have the experienced players, so they need someone to step up now and just steady the ship. It looks like they've finally changed their O-line, so we'll see if that does steady the ship for the Scottish team. But Hardfisch capitalising on every opportunity they've had so far. Really impressive.
Just to clarify, Leo Micklem didn't win anything with Ranelagh last year, did he?
He may be in a UCF winning coach in his first year coaching, so not a bad resume so far.
Yeah, fair point. You take that, I think. So rotating some players through. If anything, it's just nice to get fresh legs out on the field. Because, as we mentioned, it is very warm. I'm not sure that ball's going to come back in bounds, friends. I'm not even sure they're going to brick that, to be honest. They might just take that from the sideline. Just got the wrong edge on it, I guess.
Yeah, that was a shocker. There's not much else to say about that.
Yep, that's fair. Actually, they are going to decide to bring it in at the brick mark. Rather get the opportunity to have both sidelines available. So just a little dish off to Mackie. Bit of a riser, but well caught. Options downfield. It goes down the sideline. Is it going to be able to be towed in? Oh, he went for the greatest! And he got it as well, I think. That's unbelievable. Well, I mean, that's one way to kickstart your offense, I guess.
Absolutely. That's exactly what you want. A big moment to get the boys in, get them hyped. Incredible composure there. He had a lot of time to think about it. I thought he might go for the toe. I would have gone for the toe myself, as we all know. But he does greatest it back in, and he has a receiver following up. Easy goal for Alba.
Any regret looking back at the ECF final last year that you could have had those greatest maybe instead?
Listen, I'll take the gold medal home, and I won't look back with any regret at all.
You know what, fair cop. That was a frankly ridiculous greatest. Let's have a look at it again. These hucks down the sideline I've never been a massive fan of because you don't get a huge margin for error. There's the takeoff. It looks pretty clean to me. You'd have to really slow it down to check whether the right foot landed. But from the first and the second viewing, seemed clean enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Peach, the Alba boys, looking for the highlights already, get their team hyped up. But yeah, incredibly clean greatest.
You did say that when they hit, they can get stuff cooking. So for the first time this game, by the way, we're seeing Hardfish's O-line out there. Here's Meistering, who is never shy of the deep ball, and this time everyone's streaking after it, and no one's going to win, which is going to please Alba to no end.
Yeah, Alba's D-line, I think, is what they kind of pride themselves on. They start with their defense, they kind of lead from the front. You can see Joel Terry bidding on and under there, applying some pressure, and Hardfish's O-line not showing the same composure as their D-line offense so far.
Alba, they want to strike deep as well. Sweeney's trying to tack it down the far sideline. Oh, and it was caught on the second effort. There's that streakiness of Alba that we talked about. Terry fakes the first one. Just going to dish it off to Spears. Of course, not normally with Alba, but joining them for Windmill here. Continuation and flowed into the middle. The kick spike to get the troops fired up. And Alba with a break back. They'll need a few more, but that is a very strong start. Terry to Tang to make it 4-2.
Yeah, great concentration on that deep shot there. It looked like the defender put enough pressure on to force the drop, but he gets the two hands to it for the second effort grab. And then the red zone was simple. Joel Terry is a menace to guard in that red zone. You don't want him burning you up the line, but it means the defender takes a step off to try and prevent that. Terry has a free shot to the break side and needs to go for Alba. Let's see if they can get it rolling now.
It's funny. I think you see this quite a lot, where if you start on defense, you get a few breaks rolling at the start, then all of a sudden your O-line takes the field, and it's been 15 minutes since the game started. You know, you'd have had a warm up, and at big tournaments you'll have a spirit circle before the game as well, and it's 25 minutes before they've kind of been really in the game, and often they do come into it a little bit cold, I think.
100%, yeah. I've been on O-lines before where our D-line's got 5 or 6 breaks towards the end of the game, and we've been asked to go back in, and we say no, just keep the D-line out there. If they're rolling, even if they have to go out on O, that's kind of what we want.
Down the line to Grunewald. Centres to Meistering. Last time the disc was in his hands, it didn't end so well for Hardfish. This time he's going to find Alessio Meloni, but is it going to be a pick downfield, so he's going to have to retrace his steps.
Plenty of space, Tim. Set up the cut well. Set up the cut the way we're supposed to. No late skills tracing.
Checked in. This time, Fugman down the line. Can he squeeze that in there? He can, past the defender into Burmeister. Hardfish's O-line puts one on the board on their second O point, and it's 5-2. Both sides maybe found a bit of rhythm now.
The game has definitely settled down. Alba applying pressure on defense, but Hardfish calmed it down there as well. I don't know too much about Hardfish. You mentioned they were European Masters champions. Do they play at kind of general club level as well, or are they purely a Masters team?
They were at the Spring Invite in Padova, and they sent a second team to the Spring Invite in Leuven as well. They play mixed as Sturmflut, I think, and obviously the women's side of the Hamburg club is probably the more famous side in Seagulls. So it's a club that I think has representatives here in Open and Women's, and I've seen them send mixed teams to various fun tournaments around Europe as well, and I must say that I've had some very good times at fun tournaments with them. So yeah, they put a shifting on and off the pitch whenever they've been around, but I think they are kind of maybe looking to try and put themselves more in the post-seasonal conversation as Hardfish. Alba back on offense. Steedman has an opening underneath. Stewart. Now Cleary on the far sideline. Again, trying to jam it down that sideline. I don't think he's going to be quite able to jump that one in. Just gives him the little head fake. There's no space there. And on a rising stall, eventually, Cleary just worms his way free to make it 5-3.
Yeah, beautiful offense from Alba. Came out in 3-4 horizontal there. They flooded the 3 guys out from the centre, and the wing came in. got an easy under, and then they just kind of churn down the field on the open side. Nothing too complicated, but that's what you want to see from an O-line that's struggled to put them in so far.
On the one hand, it's nice to get the the really big plays like the greatest or the toe-ins or just those those skyscraper hugs that drop right in the bucket. But there's also a real kind of, what's the one I'm looking for? Not quite a pleasure, but a satisfaction maybe at just one of those kind of possessions where you just calmly work it down the field, and it seems like it's very uninteresting, but actually I think there's a big reward to be had in that.
Yeah, absolutely. You want your offense to be as repeatable and consistent as it can be. The big plays are great, as you said, for getting people hype, but you want to be able to do it 15 times a game, well, almost every game. So to be able to do it like that, where it's easy unders, is exactly what you're looking for as well.
The cool stuff is cool, but as you say, not necessarily repeatable. Grunwald gets Meistering down the line. He loves that little move there. Into the centre. Oh, it pops up slightly. Well handled, though. Jochens goes back. Grunwald. Meistering. They're just playing it between themselves in the backfield at the moment. Stretching it past the bidding defender, are they? No, they are not. Cornelius, I think, got a tip on it.
Yeah, huge D there. Alba starting to generate more pressure, and let's see if they can stick it in on the turn now.
A little bit of roll curve on that one. Chase down just outside the end zone, and Sweeney just dishes it into Johnston, but this is going to go back on the travel, I think.
Interesting. Seemed like he was pretty free deep. I don't know if the travel call makes much of a difference there, but I suppose they'll have that conversation. We'll leave it to the boys on the field.
As always, what we think on any call does not necessarily matter. I wonder if it's the less the dragging the foot and more the kind of not necessarily slowing down and keeping that forward momentum going into the throw. By the way, it is going to go back to Cornelius and checked in. Obviously, you've got to trust that all calls are made in good faith, as that one is really well kept up by Terry. Little quick one through. Searching for options, really favouring that flick. Spears. Calls from the sideline to really utilise the width. Just create more avenues and throwing lanes. Two players in the backfield. Eventually just a little offhand dish to Spears. He continues it to Terry now. They are utilising the width a bit more. They clear the space down the sideline for the shot into the end zone, and he strides and streaks onto it. Johnston gets the goal in the end. Another break for Alba, and they are clawing their way back into this. Just down by one now, 5-4. It's a shame that for Alba, really, that they got off to such a sluggish start, because they've really bounced back.
Yeah, and that's the difficult thing about Swiss draw. Even if you do come back and you get a few breaks and take a close win, it can hurt you in the long run if it's a team that potentially goes on to struggle in the rest of the tournaments. But looking a lot more impressive, Spears and Terry in the backfield, pretty much as solid as you like. They do look to be going through Stuart Jinks a lot, number 72 downfield for those big shots. I think he threw the hook for the greatest, and he threw that hook for the goal there as well. So he loves a flick hook, and it's working out well so far for him.
Yeah, you mentioned it with Swiss draw. It feels facetious to say every point matters, because every point always matters, right? But especially so in Swiss draw, where it takes into account the difference in between teams. And I've seen it, I think at Windmill a few years ago, where a team won every game and didn't make the top 8 because they were just kind of grinding out 1-point, 2-point wins against teams that on paper they should have been kind of seeing away a lot more comfortably. And that's one of the, depending on how you look at it, one of the benefits or problems of the format. Whoa, that was a flying bid through. Nearly cleaned out the receiver there. That one's an expansive swing. Hustled down well by Spectre. Looking high stall. Into the backfield now for credit. Down towards the far sideline, Eichler. Has that little upline. Mackey's trying to get round. But Spectre boxes him out well. Eichler. More of that. Just calm. Unders-based offense. Reset clears out, tries to sneak it through that lane, and the live wire tang is on it. Alba could bring us level. Spears has the poach and they're going to work it through. Mackey's looking for options. On the sideline, towed in. A little bit more timing about the offense. Picking out that reset early. Downfield, saw the space. Thinking about the end zone shot. Oh, he went with the high release flick. That's spicy, but more than equal to it was Salter. Bit of spice with the salt there, I guess. And it's 5 apiece. That wasn't my best one. I apologise.
Yeah, Alba looking pretty systematic out there, and then Stuart Jinks gets the disc and just seems to throw whatever he wants. Threw the flick hook last time and the nice high release flick there. Alba's defense really good in terms of keeping them on the sideline. They were getting beaten up the line. All it took was Mackey to shut down one up line. He forced them to look into that inside lane. And I think he said it was Ben Tang who get the nice layout D. He was in perfect position, and they cash in another break there.
Still the one break down, but from the position they were in at the start of this game, Alba have done very well. A 5-1 run for the Scots. Trying to, I think, turn some of the promise they've showed on home shores onto Europe, where they've perhaps done not quite as well as they might have.
Yeah, I always think Alba should be one of those teams kind of competing in the quarterfinals and later. It seems like they have the potential to do it, but it's really just about can they get, numerous consistent games in a row, and I think that's what bringing in a coach should help them do, and this is kind of the start of that for them this year so far. Hardfisch out on offense here and looking good so far.
The big lefty Meistering. Downfield, I thought the bid was going to come in, but it didn't in the end. Grunwald. High one. Caught by Kressner. Meistering again, surveying his options. Wants the break around. Gets it back to Kressner. The two of them just playing with each other in the backfield. Now going down, trying to squeeze it down that sideline. And a brilliant tip. Just sends it on his way from Stewart.
Yeah, great D. That's on the break side. Hardfisch did look good there, but they'll really want to get their O-line or their D-line back out in the pitch. It seemed like the D-line was having more success in terms of generating pressure. But Alba, as we said, a streaky team. They struggled at the start, but they've really found their feet in this game now.
So bringing in from that front cone with a chance to take this game back on serve. And after the 4 successive breaks for Hardfisch to open this contest, that would be some achievement, but not that time. The throw through the inside channel was laid and the defender was already in position to knock it down. Meistering picks up about parallel with the brick knock. But not a lot going on downfield. Handler clears out, they go for the long swing across. Now there's the continuation and they punish it at the second time of asking. But Alba, they're getting closer here.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're Alba, you really want to go on a run here and have a little bit of a run to get yourself some Swiss draw points. But Hardfisch just aren't going away. They've shown there that they can turn over, get it back, and put it in. So, yeah, this is a really evenly matched game. Two teams with very different styles, but evenly matched in the second round of Swiss draw.
Yeah, just trying to get confirmation of our next Swiss draw games as well, when we will be back in the mixed division. It's one of the things that obviously with Swiss draw is that not only do the teams not know who they're playing until about half an hour beforehand, neither do we, which can make getting everyone in the right position a little bit chaotic at times, but theoretically it means you do get those close games all the way throughout the tournament, which is nice for us as well. We are on field 8 at the moment, so with field 7 behind us. Looks like we're going to have Austria mixed versus DTU of Denmark, and field 7 has hometown heroes Too Many Cooks up against Harangi from South Korea, which is, I like that, getting 4 different nations represented on stream at the same time. It's one of the nice things about Windmill is that you play those teams and players from all over the world, because it is a real kind of festival of Frisbee.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was an Indian team last year in the mixed division that came third and really showed up with a different style that the European teams didn't know how to handle. So really cool tournament, and as I said, a good party vibe as well.
Oh, believe me, there is a party vibe, as there's a miscommunication that'll give Hardfisch the disc. Trying to get things moving before the Alba defense gets set again. Dreyer, who actually rocking a Hardfisch tattoo on his right arm. That's commitment. Trying to squeeze it down the sideline. Will they find a way through? Just about gets the dish off, but it is very congested. Travel called, resets the feet. Spectre with the hammer over the top. Brilliant option towards the far side. Klein Johan going into the backfield now, happy to lose a bit of vertical field position just to get the horizontal movement, and two players make the cut at the same time, and Moreke in the end gets the score to make it 7-5 to Hardfisch.
Yeah, number 35 is a Kleino man finding the space on the break side there. Acts as kind of a release valve for that Hardfisch offense. Looks composed, and Hardfisch are, they've shown, you think maybe at the start of a game they might go up a couple. It's more on Alba just not making the right decisions and not executing. But when you're getting to kind of 7-5, that just shows that you're a quality team. Hardfisch have put together a good first half here, and we'll hope that with not a huge amount of time left, that they can really capitalise and finish off this Alba squad.
I love that hammer over the top to kind of crack open the possession there a little bit, because as you may have noticed, that it's relatively still out here. So, those overheads are, well, it's not just that they could be, but perhaps they should be part of your arsenal at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a defender, when it's this hot, you want to be able to just take a break when your man's on the break side. You don't want to have to be all over them all the time. So showing that you have that means Alba now have to respect everything else on the field more throughout the points. So a good option in that specific moment, and also makes Alba think as you kind of move through the game.
Yeah, there is not a lot of shade out here. There is a shade tent towards our left-hand side, but yeah, a lot of sun hoodies and long sleeves in attendance, just trying to make sure that you can get any scarce bit of shade available. Here's Terry, who rips it. It's skyscraping over the top. Well, a couple of players there, and Webb got the call just about in time, and eventually they bounce it back into Cleary to Lindsay for the score. But I thought the two of them were nearly going to be involved in a bear hug, and they're just going to the floor.
Yeah, we could hear it as he was running past the commentary booth here. Joel Terry laughing at one of the elder statesmen of Alba getting pushed out of the way for the deep shot there. Joel Terry, probably one of the most impressive players I've seen over the last few years. We would have matched up in kind of U24s in 2019, and he's really pushed on and become one of the top handlers in the UK, if not in Europe.
You were U24s in 2019?
Yeah. I'm 27 now, I think, just turned 27. So I only played for Ireland once, actually. That's the only time I've ever played for Ireland until now. And it looks like I won't get to do it this year either. So haven't played much national team, but hopefully looking to change that in the future.
Yeah, one of those things where obviously you kind of hit your stride and then the pandemic appears and all of the international tournaments go away for a little bit. So layout there, was that up? They're asking the question. Must admit, I didn't get a great view of it. Spears shrugs his shoulders. Gonna see if we can get a look at it. We're trying to tilt the screen forward a bit. We're going to see it again. It's tricky because his body's a little bit in the way, screening it. It's a little bit difficult. The Alba players behind us seem convinced that it was down, but on the field I think they're contesting it and sending it back.
I've Never heard an old man lie, so I'd say it's down.
Really, I feel like I've heard them lie on multiple occasions, but I'm not going to name any names. In the end, everyone on the field seemed like they just weren't sure, so we'll just send it back and do it again. But I feel like they've been really trying to clamp down on these resets as the game's gone on, Alba. And it really is hips in pockets at the moment. And there the layout on the far side. That one doesn't come up with the goods. Alba could break to take us to Galaxy Point here. Terry wants to muscle his way up line. He's faked off, and then they tried to squeeze it round Maloney, but he got the shout to turn around quick enough and knock it away. For that time, just go with a cheeky little one over the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that second layer D for Ben Cornelius? I think he had one flying D earlier. He's shown that he can really push the man out, and then on the unders apply pressure. You get 2 massive Ds for Alba. Shame they can't catch in. As you said, it looked like a simple enough shot over the top.
See, that's why you've got to have a thumber in your arsenal. Oh, Terry didn't get there, and it was nearly macked back to the Hardfisch player. There is a foul called on the far side of the field. The discussion is going to be whether it affected that throw. At the moment, it says 6-0. It's not 6-0 to Alba. It's 7-6 to Hardfisch. But I think the hot weather is has melted something in some of the systems somewhere. It's been. I think also the fact that we've probably brought back a mountain of sand from EBUTC doesn't help things either. Beach is great until you remember that sand gets everywhere.
Absolutely, but the gold medals make it all the sweeter, so I'll take the sand and the gold.
All right, rub it in. Hey, we went undefeated that weekend as well, I have you know. Spears starts by going out wide. Terry takes the underneath. I'm just trying to work it around the backfield at the moment. Can they zing it in towards the far sideline? Oh, it just bounced out of the hands of Cornelius.
It looked like he might be trying to keep his feet in bounds there. I always think you just got to secure the catch. See if your feet do land in bounds. You don't want to look like a bit of an idiot there by just making the drop and your feet would have been in bounds anyway. But Hardfisch here taking a big deep shot. Number 82 makes the grab. Not quite in the end zone.
Taking the reset now. Hardfisch have had a couple of lives on this possession. Will they get another? And eventually they squeeze it in there. With a little bit of a lost hat on the way, I think. And Hardfisch take half here, 8-6. And I'm sure both sides will be rapidly seeking some shade. And we're going to cool off here in the booth as well. Any final thoughts before we go into a break?
Yeah, really close at the half. Hardfisch have shown that they can really keep consistent over the course of a half. I'd be interested to see if Alba do come out with anything slightly different other than just the man defense they've been playing so far.
Cool, we'll take a little breather in the booth and we'll see you for the second half of this Windmill Swiss draw game very shortly.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
How much longer can you hide? You can try and push away from me. You kick and scream, you're begging please. But once you get a little taste of freedom, you wanna get up off your knees. Come over.
Second half action here at Windmill tournament in the Swiss draw. Alba down 6-8 to Hardfisch, and the Germans are receiving to begin the second half. Benji Reese alongside Sam Murphy. Sam, you've just found out your Swiss draw opponent for Island Mix, and although you won't be, of course, taking the field, it's one that I'm sure you will be very keenly observing from the sideline.
Yeah, we're playing Chang-Chi and the Legend of 20th Rings. Some of the names that everyone will know at this tournament, I'm sure. I think Nathan Kwan's on that team. I think Emily Kai from BFG is on that team. There's a lot of really, really good players. I imagine they'll be partying hard, so maybe you want to catch them later in the tournament, but we're here to test ourselves, so it'll be a really, really good matchup.
Yeah, bringing together some of the finest Asian American talent to take on Windmill and have some fun doing it as well. Not that there's any really other way to take on Windmill. If you win Windmill but you didn't really go to the parties, I'm not sure that really counts, to be honest.
No chance. You got to do both.
So I take it that means we'll see you in the beer race later.
As long as there's no wheelbarrow race, I'll be in there.
I think you might be out. Second half underway. Meistering puts the deep shot up, but unfortunately for Hardfisch, I think the cutter Fergman had stopped. So break chance for Alba. Alba want to go big themselves. Hughes tracking it down. He's got the speed. Not going to be quite in the end zone just yet. Is he going to go for the one over the top? No, he wants to play it a little bit shorter. Isn't going to jam it in the jam hole, though. Going around, Spears, Webb. Beckons wants something a little bit closer, and then goes for the around backhand, and it is just a touch out of reach.
Yeah, Alba's deep shots in there, 3-4, really starting to come off now. Look pretty clean, but the red zone hasn't quite matched up to the same, so Hardfisch take over again.
Centering pass from Hardfisch finds Kressa. That one, oh, fast hands there from Meistering, and he's going to continue to put it if he wants to. Maloney, 0-0, showing off the wheels. Now Hardfisch try and transition into a red zone offense with that deep shot no longer available. Back into the hands of Grunwald. Sneaking that one through down the sideline. Meistering toes it in. Can he jam it in there? No. A couple of defenders converge and earn the disc back for Alba. Hardfisch maybe guilty of being a little bit greedy there.
Yeah, it seemed like there wasn't too much pressure on them in the red zone, but they did just throw it to double coverage. Both teams struggling in the red zone so far, but Hardfisch are going to get another opportunity with a short field turn.
I thought it was a lovely break to get the disc into the centre, but slightly offline. Bounces out of the hands, and oh, the quick one I thought was there. Alba just about recover in time. Meistering surveys his options, just going to go back to Grunwald. The two of them just going to dink and dunk it for a little bit until they get interested in something else. Oh, that was crafty, and I'm not sure I like that look, trying to blade it right through the centre of the field. Always likely to be traffic there.
Yeah, he seems like the main shooter for this Hardfisch team, Grunwald, but didn't come off there, and Alba go deep straight away to Joel Terry.
He's got acres of separation as he catches that one, getting a little bit of support, but they've come unstuck in the red zone a little bit at times. Oh, Terry with a good adjustment to make that catch. Here's Webb, and there's a pick, which I think Webb knew before he threw it, but just going to show them that it's there. He's got no force on, really. So he can take his time, pick his spot. Wants to reset. Instead going out wide to Tang. Continuing to swing. Just the little casual high release backhand. Maybe too casual. They're calling it out of bounds. I must admit, I didn't get a great view of it. But there doesn't necessarily seem to be that much disagreement. I think just a bit of frustration from Stewart.
Yeah, it did seem like a relatively simple throw. Again, struggles in the red zones for both teams. I'd love to see Alba on those deep shots. leaving the kind of 2 players that are closest to the end zone to play 2-on-2 Frisbee. It seems like they're quite eager to clear everyone through, and that's kind of jamming up the space. You think with athletes like Terry, Spears, Jinx, that if you just left them down there, they'd score in that much space. But we see on the replay there, it did look like he had left his feet before he got his toe down.
So timeout here for Hardfisch, with things looking scrappy in this first point after half. So an opportunity for us to have a breather in the booth as well.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Coming off the timeout then, Hardfisch, can they get their offense back into a bit more rhythm? Benji Reese and Sam Murphy here with you on a very sweaty sideline. Well, I am at least. You're wearing a button-down shirt, so... And what is that, corduroy? You look very warm.
Yeah, I don't even know what material this is. I can only wear 3 shirts at the moment due to the collarbone, so this is one of the 3 you'll see me wearing for the next 2 weeks.
Well, that offense was as stylish as your shirt, Smurf, and evidently, calling the timeout, sometimes it seems to bite teams because it can be difficult getting the disc going from that static position, but once Hardfisch got it in rhythm, they just... everything seemed so much more fluid than it had done.
Yeah, it seems like when they do find that rhythm, they're really solid. Their disc skills are pretty immaculate so far, and they've shown the ability to get out of tight situations as well. Alba do seem to be generating more pressure as the game goes on. Hardfisch haven't played so far, and they go up 8-6. Or is that 9-6?
9-6 then, first point after half. Scoreboard's just getting a little bit of time to update in the hot weather. I would suggest giving it a gelato, but I don't think that generally works well with machinery. I think, am I saying that just because I would like one? Who knows? Maybe I've been spending too much time round Stef, but I'm not sure you can, to be honest.
Yeah, a few tired-looking Alba bodies on the sidelines. Hardfisch seem to have a few more numbers, but for Alba's offense.
So Alba receiving for the first time in the second half. Here's Mackie. Very expressive fake there. Mackie towards the far sideline, getting it back against this Hardfisch zone. Cheeky hammer over the top, but the receiver's in plenty of space. I like Hardfisch mixing it up defensively, but it did not really work.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, though. You have a 3-point advantage. There's only about 20-ish minutes to go. And you don't want a team like Alba to have that chance to get the momentum with a big play. Zone certainly slows the game down a little bit, allows you guys to kind of control the tempo. So didn't work that time, but worth a shot.
And you mentioned earlier in the game, and we saw it earlier in the game, that this is an Alba side that can really thrive off the big play and can be streaky at times. So just force them to piecemeal their way down the field a little bit. Again, even if they score, can just take a bit of the energy out of the offense.
Absolutely. Having played on the Ranelagh line last year, all we wanted to do was get marked one-on-one downfield so that we could feel good about ourselves, feel confident as athletes. Even when we scored a zone, I didn't come off particularly happy. I play Frisbee because I want to go out and run against people out there, so they find the Alba offense. Sure, it's a goal, but it's not a momentum building goal.
Yeah, so much of the game is that kind of those psychological aspects. Trying to find ways to disrupt your opposition or just not let them settle. As again, kind of the hallmark of this Alba side so far. Tight, tough match defense, and Spears maybe just gets a little bit handsy at the end there.
Yeah, it looks like Spears arguing that he was in a legal marking position and couldn't avoid the contact maybe initiated by the thrower. It did look like he was kind of following and circling on the mark, so it's always close. Difficult to argue as a defender that you were completely static, but we'll see how they resolve it here.
It was a very high, or at least it felt like a very high stall. Obviously, I'm not out there with a microphone, so I can tell you exactly what it was on. But the way kind of your own kind of mental clock, and with everyone kind of flooding in to help out, is kind of the, oh god, the stall count's rising, means that it must have been getting up there.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be uncontested. It's definitely at least going back to the thrower, so they'll have a fresh 10 here to try and get something going.
Yep. From 0, although clearer hand signals next time, please. Thank you. Oh, the cheeky scuba, but way too cheeky instead. It fluttered and it wobbled, and Cornelius was not having any of it, and a floater, but Spears is able to get up there and bring it down, and it's a break for Alba, one that I was kind of expecting to be a bit more enthused about, but they're not, maybe because they made it harder on themselves than it needed to be.
Yeah, interesting from Spears there. He definitely was circling on that mark, trying to force it to be just a high pressure throw, regardless of whether he was taking away the break side or the open side for their defense. He does commit the foul on the first time of asking, but even from stall 1, it looked like the player was a little bit on edge, didn't look super comfortable with the disc, so maybe that pressure paid off, got the turn. The scuba didn't look great in the wind, and Alba easily able to sweep it up, and plenty of time to slot it in for the break.
Yeah, just casting an eye over the other games going on in this round. You might be able to see in the background of the shot on field 9, France open up against Heidi's, and France 14-8 and 1 point away from victory, although it might be about to be 14-9. I think one of the games that will draw a lot of people's eyes is Condor's Mooncatchers, and apparently that's 0-0, so evidently the scores haven't come through, which is a little bit of a disappointment. Condor's Mooncatchers is a bit of a heavyweight encounter for round 2 of Swiss Draw, but hey, who am I to question the almighty algorithm? Meistering with that break flick. Maloney has the speed, deep, easy gas to make it 10-8.
Yeah, not long to go here. By my watch, about 18 minutes left. Hardfisch 10-8 up. That's one of the kind of top defenders for Alba, getting beaten deep there, Joel Terry. So good signs for Hardfisch that they're able to stretch the field out, complete those deep shots. They're looking good going into this kind of final quarter of the game.
Yeah, need to keep that vertical element to their offense, because even if it's not getting thrown, they need to keep expanding the field, because Alba will really try to clamp down on those unders and those resets and almost dare them to throw it up a bit more. Are you keeping an eye on the Irish teams?
Yeah, it looks like the Irish women 9-5 up over Jinx, which is a strong start. German women also up over the Swiss women 10-5. So some interesting results around the complex so far.
Yeah, this is an interesting one as well. Czech Republic, Belgium in the women's division. Czech Republic up 8-7 at half. So that's very close there as well. Here's Cleary. Downfield, can they find it centering pass? Just give a little.
I'm a good one, getting worn out, need a fixation. I'm so ready for new mistakes. No, I've been looking for love inside, for someone I appreciate.
are very sorry for all of those technical difficulties we had of power out, but we are back live. 11-3, 12-3 actually, in the favor of Austria. The Austrian coach told me something very funny. This last point, the way they scored was only going back. They were only allowed to go back. That sounds like a game right there. Everyone goes like, well, it is practice. You're practicing these at with you. Instead of pushing those touches with your round shots, it just opens the midfield in a very different style. And then if you're trapped on the other side, like you're not allowed to do a round shot, you just get shot in the back entirely. So going upwind, you can only throw backhand. That's Austria's call for this game. And Alex, coach of the Austrians, is very happy about this. He loves it. Days I will have better insight of the backhand this week, so adjusting if I stay not adjusting. My personal thought on this is, you gotta do what they always say. I mean, if you're absolutely you can throw a lefty backhand, I bet that's fair. I got that one. That's my point. I would be much better with the sidearm against the weak than the backhand, especially the lefty backhand. I know. Don't worry about it. I think it's a bit of a fun thing. It would be good practice. It's good practice. Everything that is practice, especially, and I don't want to sound obnoxious or anything, but with a scoreline that big,
throw just behind the player who had the second chance and made the catch right in front of the end zone. That's Setima. And for the score, 23-42.
So the first score of the second half for La Setima. They finally shown up again after we are back with energy, power. They've managed to climb that energy ladder a little bit.
To come back with energy and power as well.
5 more minutes, that's what the call was around the pitches. 5 more minutes of game time.
A grab to come up and also to toe the line at the back of the end zone well. The Hardfisch break makes it 13-10.
Yeah, maybe they're the type of plays we expected from Alba, but having come into the game not knowing too much about Hardfisch, I'll definitely leave very impressed. They've gone up 13-10 here, and it's hard to see how Alba will get back into this game with so little time left. Really impressive grab there, managed to go up high and keep his feet in bounds.
So about 3.5 minutes, I think, before the game goes on. So Alba, they need to, you know, get on the line ready, bang this in as quickly as you can, force a quick break, and put it in, and then maybe you've just got enough time to start the next point before the hooter goes. Does feel like it's Hardfisch's game at this point.
Yeah, if I'm Hardfisch, I'm in absolutely no rush to get the next point started. It looks like Alba aren't really rushing it either. Maybe don't understand that the time is limited on their side. But at the end of the day, it's an early season tournament for Alba. Maybe they just want to run the systems, don't worry too much about the specific results in the games.
And one of the weird kind of quirks of Swiss draw is that, you know, a loss compared to a win in a normal tournament, it's the result that matters. But in this, because it's almost more about the scoreline. So, you know, the difference between a 1-point win, a draw, and a 1-point loss, actually not that much altogether. So, you know, maybe you don't feel like going out there trying to rush things actually probably might not help your offense anyway. Terry watches the pool drop, picks up, trying to find an option in the centre of the field, swings across to Mackie. Mackie winds up the arm, Smurf.
Yeah, you came out, you said it maybe isn't in their best interest to rush it. And honestly, if you're Mackie, one of the big throwers, looking at one of the big targets downfield, Jinx, not a bad option, but maybe just fatigue setting in there. No chance for Jinx to even make a play as it drifted out of bounds.
Sennefelder will get the chance to bring it in on the resumption. Self checks it on the ground. It's the only time I will allow it. Bless you. Chris to break. No support with him. Just about releases that one in time to Dreyer. Dreyer. Ooh, snuck it past Terry. And there's the opportunity for Spectre to put the big one up. Has he got the edge on that right? Again, he's whipping the fans up into a frenzy. Is Lucas Klein-Johann, and he makes it 14-10.
Yeah, Klein-Johann showed he can do it on both ends. I think he threw the last goal coming down with that one. I was impressed. We saw the near D from Joel Terry on this side. A lot of players would just blindly lay out, try and secure the defense, not really worry about the offense. You could see as he came towards us, he had a quick look over his right shoulder to see where the offensive and defensive players were downfield, so he didn't clear anyone out. That maybe means that he doesn't get the D on this occasion, but as someone who has been cleared out a few times, definitely appreciate the body control and awareness of other spaces around him as well.
Yeah, there's also the other thing as well. If you bid for it and you don't get it, then that huck is completely free. As it is, he was able to put a little bit more pressure on it. It was a really well executed throw in the end. Lovely roll curving shape on it. But there is always the risk reward whenever you commit to the layout.
100%. I think, especially early on in the games, I would say you want to be around 95% sure that you're going to get it if you're going to bid on it, because you are leaving your defense so exposed. Maybe later on in the game when you're down a few, you start to take a few more risks, but Terry, a very smart defender, I'm sure he knew what he was doing out there.
So the jingle is beginning to start on the background, so this will be the final point. Will Hardfisch be able to sneak it in there and take us all the way to 15-10, or will Alba pull a little bit back? And 14-11 as the flick pull goes up and tails off out of the sideline. Just going to tell you that what we've got coming up next here on our Windmill streaming fields over on Field 7 behind us. We have Too Many Cooks from the Netherlands up against Harangi from South Korea, while we'll be streaming on Field 8 Austria Mix up against DTU of Denmark. Here's Terry, pump fakes the backhand, and a lot of snap on that one. Ooh, it bounced in and out of the grass, but eventually stuck in there. Here's Stewart, taking the reset off Terry. Cushions the around backhand into the centre. Terry happy to go every other on this possession. A floater. Oh, the big man got it at the second attempt and then just rushed the shot into the end zone.
Kind of the story of the game for Alba so far. There is a foul call there, but Alba have looked clean for large portions and then just made a few execution errors. We'll see if it goes back here. Yeah,
especially when they get close to the end zone, they do need to tidy things up again, because that probably might well be the difference in this one. The victory's beyond reach for them, but in Swiss draw, got to fight for every single point. Terry in the centre, going back to Mackie, looking, but not a lot happening in the end zone, just waiting for that cut to develop. Feathers it in there for the 15-10 final score. Smurf, just some final thoughts for you before we let you get off to Island Mixed again.
Yeah, really impressed with Hardfisch. They've shown that they can put a full game together. That's a bit of a marquee win for a team that's looking to compete more on the European scene. Alba back to the drawing board. Heard a bit of frustration there from the sidelines. So we'll see how both teams respond, but really interesting game.
Lovely. We'll wrap things up quickly here so we can get ready for the next game. And on behalf of Sam Murphy and all of our ULTI.TV crew, Benji Rees saying we'll see you on the other side.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
ULTI.TV